Hey everybody, this is Austin,
And this is Jeff.
and welcome back to another episode of the Bicknell&Shea podcast.
Yeet. This is the second one of the year, technically.
Yep, season
Third.
2, episode 2. We're going to keep hammering that point in.
Keep hammering that shit. Season 2, episode 2. Great content coming your way today. Should we drop? No, we don't drop the topic until we get to today's topic. How was your week so far, dude? It was a pretty solid week. You've been off work? Not
Been
really
off
doing
work,
much?
been playing a ton of Red Dead Redemption online. I mean, just a sickening amount.
Leveling up?
Leveling up, yeah, I started over with my character on PC because it doesn't carry over. Thanks, Rockstar, you sons of bitches. If I can carry over all my progress from Call of Duty Modern Warfare from my Xbox to my PC with the same account, same character, I know it's possible. They just don't want to implement it.
Dude, you were with me trying to figure out how to get my stupid Call of Duty account linked together and how pain in the ass that process was. And it just
Jeff,
didn't
you
end
have
up
too
working
many
out.
emails.
I do. It doesn't help though that when I first started playing on the 360, obviously your emails expand as you grow up. I had a Yahoo account, really childish Yahoo account, and then I got my first Gmail account, and then I got my first real Gmail account, and then it's just expanded, and then your passwords all change and shit, and it's a shit show, dude. It's a real shit show. Because when you're creating your passwords too, like you start out with like a basic ass password. You're like, who fucking cares if they know this password? Because it's my Yahoo account. And then as you grow up, you start getting a like savings account. You need passwords for your money. You need passwords for this. You need passwords for that. And you start making more complicated passwords. And you're like, oh, I need to. So I don't know. Happens, dude. Happens. Anyways, dude, I'm not a new segment, but I have a couple things to intro us today. I have 2 Snapple facts for you that I want to see if you think they're real or if you think they're fake. All right? So this is Snapple fact 1416. Mangoes can get sunburnt.
Sure, why not? I don't know.
All right.
If peaches can bruise, then why can't mango sunburn?
Fair enough. They can get sunburnt. And then Snapple fact 1012. The King of Hearts is the only king without a mustache.
That's true, because he just has like the goatee, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's just like a weird fucker out of all the kings. He's just out there. I wonder who fucking decided to make that. Like, they were just like, well, the King of Hearts, fuck him. He doesn't get a mustache. But
I don't know.
anyways, let's jump right in to this week's BS. This is week 1-4. So this is starting on 1-4. That was Monday, 1-4-21. So this is technically the first actual week of the year. Because I think, the New Year started on Sunday, right? I believe. I think so. Anyways, so this is the week of 1-4-21. A lot of crazy shit happened this week. But I'm going to start off with a kind of a funny topic, kind of a funny, interesting BS. The never-ending pasta pass debacle. This is what I'm calling it. So, to break it down, I got to give you a little bit of the concept. So it's Olive Garden's never-ending pasta pass. And this is something that happened back in 2019. So Olive Garden came out and they were like, we're going to do this never-ending pasta pass. So you buy this pasta pass for $100, and for 9 weeks you can come in and get unlimited pasta, soup, salad, and breadsticks. And they have like a pasta pass menu. Kind of dope, kind of like an interesting, marketing scheme. But then they fucking really upped that marketing scheme, and they said the first 50 people to get this unlimited pasta pass will have an opportunity to get a lifetime pasta pass, never-ending pasta pass. So basically, you go into the restaurant. This is back in 2019, before COVID, obviously. You go into the restaurant and you sign up for this never-ending pasta pass. You pay $100. If you're the first 50, they'll send you an email out, and they'll give you 48 hours to opt in to the lifetime never-ending pasta pass. You have to pay an extra $400, which personally I think that's worth it if you're going to eat a shit ton of pasta. If you're a pasta person and you're not, let's say you're under the age of 80, you probably have a decent amount of life left. You can get tons of pasta. So if you opt in and pay that extra $400, they'll mail you this golden pasta pass, and it's unlimited for the rest of your life. Pretty fucking dope, if you ask me. So yeah, they do this, and they send out these unlimited pasta passes, and so now we're going to scale it forward. So this was in 2019. We scale it forward to the craziness within the Capitol being overtaken. And this guy tweets out this funny ass tweet. It's an Olive Garden picture, and it's an Olive Garden tweet. And he tweets out, I'm going to read it to you. At Olive Garden, we are a family here. Our traditions, like unlimited soup, salad, and breadsticks, we have enjoyed by many guests from all over the country and throughout the entire political spectrum. It has come to our attention that a few of our guests have taken part in a vicious attack on our nation's capital. We have worked with the FBI and the Holiday Inn in Washington, D.C. to identify several guests who both frequent our restaurants and participated in the violent uprising against the government this week. In response, Olive Garden has invalidated our never-ending pasta pass for several guests and revoked lifetime pasta pass from Sean Hannity. Yeah. And they go on and say some funny shit here at the end. But this tweet was actually sent out from a guy, what was his name? Louis Manta Jr. or something like that. And you know how fast people just like jump on to fake news board. Like clearly this is a joke. It's kind of hard to tell, but it's a joke. And people just fucking blew this shit up. And Sean Hannity's actually, I believe he's a Fox News reporter. So that's kind of one of the reasons it's kind of like a big, clearly you can tell it's a joke. But this shit blew up, bro. Blew up. Everybody was freaking out and really shitting on Olive Garden, saying like, well, not really shitting. They were kind of supporting it and they thought it was super hilarious. But it was a fake tweet. And dude, it's pretty fucking funny. But
it is hilarious. And it wouldn't be completely unbelievable to think that some of the people that were at that rally were in fact holders and very, very frequent users of an unlimited pasta pass.
yes.
There were some people there that were not in great health.
No. Yeah, definitely could have been some people there holding an unlimited pasta pass. Honestly, I don't know. I'd probably opt in for $400. Would you opt in for $400 to get a lifetime pasta pass?
Now that an Olive Garden is being built here, potentially, if the unlimited pasta pass was valid for takeout. Because I can tell you right now, the one Olive Garden being built in the entire greater Spokane area is out here in the valley at the mall. So you know it is going to be 24/7 swamped with all of these suburban middle-class families who think that is genuinely good Italian food.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys have any like Italian up there, really?
I know that we do. Like, there's some small places downtown, but not none that I've been to. I know we've got Tomato Street, and that's the only one I can actually name off the top of my head. But yeah, we're getting our first Olive Garden, and of course it's in the parking lot of the mall.
Yeah.
Because why wouldn't it be?
Another reason why this was like clearly fake, because this pasta pass thing happened back in 2019. So they were only doing this unlimited pasta pass wasn't from like September to November, and then they cut it off. And then obviously if you had a lifetime pass, you got to keep that. I think it was a quality marketing scheme by Olive Garden. Kind of like that. Remember when IHOP changed to IHOB?
Yes.
You remember that?
That was a stupid marketing scheme, though.
It was genius, though. Everybody was talking about IHOP for months on end, losing their shit because they were changing it to the International House of Burgers instead of pancakes. So
it certainly didn't convince me to go try a shitty burger at a shitty pancake place.
Yeah. Well, they're probably not marketing for you. They're marketing for their less cultured audience. As if you're cultured.
Socially aware, maybe.
Yeah. But
marketing is targeted at stupid people. Let's just say that. Like, the bulk of all marketing, like, if you sit down and look at a marketing campaign and say, well, this is stupid. Who would fall for this? Who would buy this? You're not who is being marketed to. So
Yeah.
just so you know.
Because clearly they're not making money off a $400 lifetime pasta pass. 50 of them. That's not that. I feel
They're
like
trying to
that's not
generate the hype, the buzz.
yes, the hype and the buzz, and that's what they're getting their money off of. So, pretty interesting, pretty funny. Olive Garden was probably like, "Oh my god, don't bring us into this. We don't want to be, a part of this."
Big
stuff.
national chains don't like getting into political things because it loses them customers on either side.
Yeah. And then there was one other funny tweet from a big company. I think some reporter had posted a picture and said, left by the mob, and there was a picture inside the Capitol, one lonely can of Axe body spray. And then the Axe body spray people tweeted back and they said, we'd rather be lonely than with the mob. Axe condemns yesterday acts of violence and hate in the Capitol. Basically just saying like they're not with, obviously, the violent acts in the Capitol. So big companies definitely need to get their point of view out there so they don't get cancel cultured.
Mm-hmm.
But so that was the big breakdown for the week of the BS. I had a couple
Aren't you
honorable
missing
mentions.
something? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Go.
I had a couple honorable mentions. Obviously, the Capitol getting stormed in Washington by a bunch of hooligans. That
Domestic
was huge.
terrorists. That's what we call them.
Hooligans, domestic terrorists, crazy people. Obviously, probably the biggest news of the week. Very huge news, but I feel like it's very covered by a lot of different people.
And we already talked about it.
And we've already kind of talked about it in Wednesday's episode. And then one more honorable mention would be Kim and Kanye getting a divorce. But to be honest, I really don't give a fuck.
And you shouldn't give a fuck either because Kim Kardashian is stupid and Kanye West is stupid. Quit deifying these idiot celebrities.
Yeah. Keeping Up with the Kardashians. I guess she filmed her last episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
Yes, it's over. And I hope we see a great cultural shift away from this bullshit, but I don't think we will because of Instagram and TikTok.
I did have one comment, though, from Kim. She says Kanye's too crazy for her, apparently. Which I'm like, Kanye's pretty fucking crazy, but let's be honest. She's pretty fucking crazy, too. So, and then she also said that she wants to become a lawyer. I don't know who the fuck would want Kim Kardashian as their fucking lawyer, but I don't see that playing out very well.
No.
Definitely not. Well, that wraps up this week's BS. So, on to geek gossip. Austin, do you have any geek gossip for us today?
I do. I have one thing I wanted to bring up that's real short and sweet. I'm not going to dive into anything super detailed or techie, but SpaceX, a company that I think is really fucking cool, they had their first launch of the year. It was a Falcon 9 rocket, flew a satellite into space.
Nice.
And this launch marked the 50th launch of a rocket that had been previously flown. So the 50th time that they have taken a rocket, launched it into space, landed it successfully, cleaned it up, refurbished it, and sent that motherfucker right back into space.
That's pretty fucking dope.
That's awesome. That is so cool. That is such a huge, leap for mankind in terms of our spaceflight aspirations, is just being able to continually reuse these rockets.
Yeah. How big is that Falcon 9 rocket? Is it pretty big or a little bit smaller?
The Falcon 9 is kind of like your mid-range, I guess.
Rocket.
Yeah, because there's the Falcon 9 and the
rocket.
Falcon Heavy. So the Falcon Heavy is literally 3 Falcon 9s strapped together.
Okay.
And then the Starship, which is in test flights, is a lot bigger.
That's the one that Elon's going to board and take to fucking Mars.
So let's see. The Falcon 9 is 70 meters tall.
That's pretty mid-range.
Mm-hmm. It's
That's not too
it's
crazy.
not like a, what was it? What was the big one? Saturn V, I think. That's a big fucking rocket.
If you're a hard thinker like me, 70 meters, just think about a 100-meter dash, 70 meters, just like a basic track for all our viewers out there that can't really conceptualize this idea in their head. It's about 70 meters. It's a pretty decent-sized rocket. Is it pretty skinny, or is it girthy? Does it have some girth to it?
You really want me to answer that? It's 3.7 meters in diameter, so
Oh, it's pretty skinny.
take that as you will.
Yeah. That's cool, man. I know I'm asking you these questions. I just figure you know them. But if you don't, that's fine too. Does it just obviously, so they blast it up into orbit, and then do they actually land it back down, or does it just crash down? Do they have parachutes? You know what fucking happens to that bad boy?
It literally lands itself back down on either a landing pad or a drone ship. If you've seen the video, like, it has rockets in order to, like, obviously it blasts off up into space, detaches. I don't know if it fully goes like into the, like, if it leaves the atmosphere, because it's a 2-stage rocket. So like the big main skinny part falls off, and then the smaller part keeps going up, for all of you who don't understand how rockets work. So it literally falls back to Earth, but on its way down, it turns around and it literally uses its engines to slow itself down until it just lands like on a drone ship or a pad. Every so often they crash, and that's fine. Like, they're prepared for that. But yeah, the ones that don't crash, they clean up, refurb, and reuse, and that's awesome. So 50 times they've done that now.
You think Elon's controlling the rockets? Like, he's just at home with the Xbox controller, just 60-inch plasma screen controlling the rocket?
No.
Definitely possible. I could see Elon doing that. But big fan of Elon, especially since he supports Dogecoin. Big supporter of Dogecoin. I think he gave a big FU to crypto, or not to crypto, to Bitcoin, and said Dogecoin is the way of the future. So big fan of Elon. He's definitely making waves.
A lot of people shit on Elon Musk just because he is so much more funny and down to earth than other like big CEOs. And it's like, he acts inappropriately. He's like, he just acts like a person.
Oh shit, dude! I did see that Elon surpassed Jeff Bezos in becoming the richest man in the world as well.
Yes, not tech news, but Elon Musk news, our new segment.
Honestly, when I first saw it, I didn't believe it, but I guess it's definitely possible. I just can't see Tesla, and I don't know what else he makes his crazy ass money from. Obviously, the boring store is it the
Boring
store?
Company.
Boring Company sells all sorts of crazy shit, but dude, Amazon sells everything. I can't see Bezos getting out passed by Elon, but who knows?
It's above our pay grade by like a factor of 100 trillion.
Well above our pay grade. So yeah, cool geek gossip for today. You want to get jumped into today's topic?
Let's do it. And this topic's your baby.
Yep, this is one of my created masterpieces. It's kind of a fun one for today. So today, our main topic is surviving a zombie apocalypse with Austin and Jeff. Bum, bum, bum. So this is a fun one. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the scene, and then Austin and I are going to go from there. How we would survive the zombie apocalypse, what we would do. You guys can get out your notepads of paper, take down notes. We probably won't allow you to come on this mission with us once this actually happens, because it's kind of basically everyone for themselves at that point, I would assume. But anyways, let me set the scene, and then we'll jump right into this. Okay, the scene. Austin and Jeff have just recorded another episode of the Bicknell&Shea podcast when they hear a blaring national emergency alert that comes on their phones. A new virus has been reported spreading throughout the U.S., Zombie-21, or Z21 for short. A nationwide stay-at-home order has been issued. Good luck and be safe. Scene. Okay. Austin and I have just come out of the studio. We look outside. Everybody's in fucking panic. Shit's going crazy. First question, Austin. Are we staying? Oh, sorry. I should set this. That we are in California. I don't know if I mentioned that. We are in the California studio. So we are here, down here in, I'm going to say San Diego. Maybe a little bit south of San Diego. More Imperial Beach area. Really close to the border. We come outside. Everything's crazy. First question. Are we staying or are we leaving, Austin?
Ideally, we would want to get out of such a densely packed metropolitan area. Because obviously diseases spread more quickly in metropolitan areas.
As you can tell, COVID-19, obviously big cities, LA, San Diego, New York, very epicenters for the disease.
Traffic's going to be gridlocked, and there'll be like freeways full of abandoned cars, like you saw in like The Walking Dead. So it's going to make travel difficult. And being in California, you don't have as much access to any sort of weaponry as a lot of other surrounding states, which definitely hurts if you're trying to fight your way out, whether it be other humans or the zombies themselves.
I would like to point out, though, there are gun stores here in California, but there's a lot less. Obviously, you've got, main sports stores as well that are going to have some form of weapons, but I feel like those are going to get raided very, very early on, and we'll have to pick up some sort of weapons as we go.
So here's a point I want to bring up early, though.
Mm-hmm.
My main focus in terms of defensive weaponry against zombies is not going to be primarily firearms.
Exactly.
They are loud. Ammo is not reusable. Ammo is generally fairly heavy to carry in bulk. And they require, somewhat consistent cleaning and maintenance, which may be difficult given the circumstances. I would err more on the side of using things like bows and arrows, crossbows specifically would be a lot more easy to handle, because if you know how to shoot a rifle, you can shoot a crossbow fairly easily. Like air guns, air rifles. That way, just cock and put in a pellet, because you can carry a lot more pellets. You can carry bullets. And there are some air rifles that can pack as much of a punch as a small caliber firearm. They're quiet. And then things like melee weapons. And no, I'm not talking the baseball bat with all the nails in it. That's stupid.
The barbed wire.
Yeah.
The WWE barbed wire bat.
Like, I'm talking like a legitimate, like, I don't know, sword's not really the right thing. Like a spear would be ideal, something where you can keep your distance against things. I know there are companies that make like boar hunting spears that are, decently made and not like mall ninja bullshit.
Would you not go for a katana? If you could get like your hands on a real katana, would you not?
I would have one, but it certainly wouldn't be my first choice.
Your go-to?
Yeah. I'd rather have something that gives me some distance for sure. So, in terms of a true zombie apocalypse, your firearms are going to be more useful against other people who might be trying to do you harm. Because there are a lot of different rules and like precedents set by zombie movies on how zombies react. And most of them seem to agree that loud noises will attract them. So stealth is going to be of the utmost importance. So if you can have like a bow with a quiver of arrows or bolts and, an air gun and some sort of melee weapon to take out the few that might be in your way as you're trying to like traverse, you're going to be in a lot better shape than just doing the good old double tap and having a mob chase you. So that's my thoughts on that. And I would assume that most places, the guns will be raided and there'll be a lot of bows and other things left to pick through. Because a lot of people are going to assume they're going to need guns. Like, this isn't a war against zombies. This is a survival scenario, not a full-on fucking Call of Duty combat scenario.
Yeah.
That's what I think a lot of people don't understand about a true zombie apocalypse. So you're not going to fight and kill all the zombies. You just need to avoid them and survive.
Good point. Good point to make early off, too. Totally agree on the silent weapons. Big fan. I think I would go for a sword. I think I'd go for a katana. I don't know how I feel about a spear because I feel like spears get stuck in things, but obviously we'd have to see what kind of spear. I don't really know what a boar spear is that you were talking about, but
it's just like a spear that has like a big broad blade on the tip. Traditionally, they're meant to like you stab a boar and let it bleed out while you're hunting with a pack of dogs. It's very like medieval.
Yeah.
But I've seen a couple of like brands of legitimate like knife makers make them. So listen, even if like you spear a zombie and you're a few feet away from it, you're going to at least slow it down enough to pull your little katana and cut its head off.
Gotcha.
Like,
yeah, because I wanted to point out too, headshots. Headshots, baby. We have to go for headshots. That's the kill shot.
I guess if we're going off of like the zombie, like it's still the brain has function, but it's been taken over to be, turn it into a zombie, which does happen in nature with like the certain parasitic insects. I know there's that wasp, the tarantula wasp.
Yeah.
that like stings and like lays its eggs inside of spiders. Maybe I'm thinking of the wrong thing. I know, but there are like parasites in nature that can cause their host to, kind of do their bidding.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not completely out of the realm of possibility.
Gotcha. Okay.
But I guess that's a rule we establish in our universe: is the severing or destruction of the brain is the
Is the only
complete
way to
kill.
go. Yeah.
And if any of you are bothered by us just talking about violence against zombies, I don't know what to tell you. Just tune out, man. It's don't play video
Relax.
games, I guess.
Relax. We're on the verge of the zombie apocalypse. It's gonna happen soon, anyways. So relax. One thing that I'd like to point out too is, like, I feel like hunkering down is overplayed because obviously we've already decided we're gonna leave because the city is gonna get overrun. I think if you're gonna hunker down, you better have a shit ton of rations. And by rations, I mean like obviously canned food, water. You need a shit ton of water. But I feel
or
like
some way to purify water, which is something I was going to get into.
we'll kind of get there down the road, maybe a little bit. But I feel like hunkering down is not a very smart thing to do if you're in the city. It's going to be very hard to stay hunkered down and not get overran. But who knows?
Overran, and also if you're in a city, you're going to have to depend on looting in order to get all your supplies, and eventually everything will run out.
Exactly.
And so my play would be to go somewhere. I think I'd take somewhere more like Northern California or Southern Oregon, somewhere along there, because that's going to be more of a moderate, climate. Where it's not like Southern California is obviously going to get stupid hot in the summer, and you're going to consume a lot more water and have a lot tougher time staying alive if it's ridiculously hot. And then up like here in Spokane, obviously it gets really hot in the summer and really cold in the winter. So I take somewhere more temperate like the Northern California area.
Yeah.
Where it's more rain and not as many temperatures below freezing or above 100 degrees. So I think that's a good starting point.
Okay, so let's get transportation then. What's going to be our transportation? Honestly,
ideally
I feel
your Prius.
My Prius gang is the go-to because it makes zero fucking noise. It runs forever on barely any gas. It has virtually like no problems ever besides needing an oil change. It's the go-to vehicle. Obviously, it's not going to be very go-to when you run into a horde of zombies and you need to plow through them. I don't think that's going to be well. The only other vehicle that I think would be better than the Prius, and I'm not going to say a Tesla, would be the super truck. The one that we have mentioned before in one of our podcasts.
You mean the
Hummer
Cybertruck?
super truck.
Oh, the Hummer electric truck?
Yes.
Well,
So we might have to find that and steal it from the Hummer facilities.
I think an electric vehicle is the wrong way to go because we're not going to be able to produce enough electricity to
100%
charge it.
You're true. You're right. So something half and half, like a hybrid. Probably my sister's RAV4. We'll just take that bitch.
Hybrid RAV4 would be perfect because then you at least get some storage space. And also, the whole concept of like mowing down a horde of zombies is not realistic. Your car is going to get bogged down within like a few hits, especially if you start to get like corpses underneath the car. You might high center yourself on zombie bodies. So there's no plowing through hordes. You're going to have to go around. I think we need to also bring like mountain bikes.
I can agree with that.
Silent can get in places that vehicles can't, and you can take all sorts of like back roads and avoid things. Not that you can carry a lot, but it's, day to day, kind of like going back and forth to places. A mountain bike would be ideal.
If we can, electric bike would be totally tight. But obviously,
electric mountain bike is a lot more doable to power with like a small solar bank than an entire Hummer.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we've conceptualized we're taking the RAV4 hybrid. We're finding some sort of electric, if we can, electric or mountain bikes, whatever we can, and then.
Think of it. People aren't going to be raiding bike shops.
Yeah, I don't think so.
We'll be able to grab a few bikes, throw them in the thing, and go.
Yeah. That's a solid fucking plan. And then we're headed north. we're headed north. I don't think east is very solid.
If you head east from San Diego, you're just going further into the desert.
You're going Arizona, which I don't think is a solid move. Obviously,
That's
maybe
horrible.
less zombies, but so we're headed north. To get out of San Diego, I think I just said don't go east, but to be honest, to go a little more south and go east to get away from the heavily populated freeways, the 5 and the 15 are the most heavily populated freeways getting out of San Diego. So if we went south, got on the 905 east, and then just came up, there's like a little toll road we could take, and then just take less populated freeways up and out, and then I think through Reno, if like we hit towards Nevada, Reno area, and then just kept migrating north, we would be solid.
We just need to make sure we pack enough fuel in the vehicle to make it through like the Death Valley area, because that's not the kind of place you want to get stranded.
Fuck no. Another question I had was, once these fuel pumps, like gas stations, is fuel going to still be able to get pumped out of the gas stations once everything kind of shuts down? Are we going to have electricity? How are we going to be able to, would we just siphon? I guess we could open up the hole where the gas goes in and try and siphon it out.
Yeah, I mean, you could literally take a bucket on a string and dip it down there and bring up buckets at a time and fill up gas cans.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously that's going to dry up at some point. So a long-term solution, a car is not your long-term solution unless you find some sort of settlement that has electricity running and is able to find, like, has people regularly scavenging for supplies, which is like best case scenario is to be able to find some kind of human settlement that is open to newcomers who are willing to pull their weight. I think that's the only way that humans will survive in something like that. If like the government like breaks down and like anarchy happens. Because obviously if like the government and the military is able to quell any sort of zombie uprising, then we'll be fine. But in the event of a societal breakdown, remember, apes together strong. So if everyone takes the fend for themselves mentality, we will all die in holes quietly.
Well, that's definitely going to happen because, I mean, just think back to when COVID hit and grocery store rations were like, literally grocery stores were running out and people were acting like insane just to steal fucking toilet paper and basic shit. So this a zombie apocalypse would be 10 levels above COVID. And people would be acting even more fucking crazy, dude.
Well, yeah, but we're talking about the difference between people panic buying and people actually going into places and physically like looting for anything they can find.
Yeah.
Because there are going to be small places that do get either wiped out by the zombies or abandoned. Mm-hmm. And those are the kind of places you're going to want to actually look for supplies.
Yes. Abandoned.
Or these small towns are going to, not be affected by it, and they're going to be grouped together. And if you happen to stumble upon one, offer yourself as a worker to then join the collective.
Definitely. On the way to that collective, though, let's say we're traveling along our way and we stumble onto like certain people and things. I feel like it's you and I versus them. I have zero trust once we're out there. I don't think we should be trusting people along the way, but once maybe we get to like a community or collective to where we can add ourselves in and provide for this collective, honestly, I'm not trusting the one or two people that are trying to pick up and go along the way.
Yeah, you can never be sure of people's intentions in a scenario like this. I mean, even during COVID, people literally bought thousands of dollars of like hand sanitizer and wipes and shit and turned it into tens of thousands of dollars of profit just because they're pieces of shit. That's right. If you do that, you're a piece of fucking shit. Fuck you, scalper. But
yeah, you're not an entrepreneur. You're a scalper, you asshole.
Yeah, so generally you're going to want to avoid contact with people. And that's where certain skills are going to come into play of like, but if you come across an area, you're going to want to like scout it out from afar before, you're going to want to be quiet, not make a lot of ruckus, like going in on foot. Mm-hmm. You're going to want to have some tactics to your things. You're not just going to want to drive into, town square and start smashing windows and looting the place. Like, you don't want to draw attention to yourself. And if you do happen across people, make your intentions clear that you don't want to hurt them and that you don't want to be hurt by them. And if they do anything, you will defend yourself and your materials.
Mhm.
And I think there'll be a lot of people, because I think a lot of the people who are going to want to do you harm are already like hunkered down in their little doomsday bunkers. You know, these are the people who are stockpiling food and weapons and ammo already, like today. So I think they're going to be hunkered down a lot more. I think a lot of the roving people you're going to find are the more unprepared. And so they're not going to want to die. And a lot of those people aren't going to be willing to kill either unless they get really desperate. And that's where you have to be more prepared than they are. I mean, that's the reality in a situation like this, in a disaster where you have to be willing to defend yourself and what you have against people who do want to take from you.
I'd like to see the percentage of people willing to kill or willing to harm other people. I want to know those percentages and to see, like, at the end of the day, when it really boils down to it, who's going to be able to, you know, protect and defend versus the other people that are just going to kind of peter out.
Well, there's going to be people who are going to be like, "I'll kill anyone," and then when it comes down to it, they can't. They're not able to do it. And there's other people who are going to be like, "I can never hurt a fly," but when things get desperate, they do whatever needs to be done. We're not advocating for harming people.
No.
But in the terms of a disaster like this, where people are out to harm others for their own personal gain, you're going to need to be willing and able to defend yourself in some way.
Absolutely.
And I think that's where the only logical use of firearms in a zombie apocalypse comes from.
Yes. So we've got our vehicle. We've got our bikes. We start moseying out of San Diego. I think we need to get out of here as fast as possible. I don't think that going to Walmart or stopping anywhere in a super populated place is very smart. Let's start moseying out. We get into a little more secluded area, especially if we go east. If we go south, which seems weird, but then go east, there's a lot more secluded places. We could get gas. We could get certain supplies. Obviously, we'll take anything that we have from the studio. But once we start making our way, we're going to need to stop to get those weapons that we're talking about. We're going to need, let's say we run upon a gun store that's been like abandoned or in a smaller town. What are we getting ammunition-wise and gun-wise, Austin, since you are the weapons expert in this situation?
Do not ever call me a weapons expert.
I said in this situation, because I would not be the weapons expert. Out of the two of us, you would be the weapons expert. In this
Ideally,
situation.
We would want an AK platform.
Okay.
There's just nothing more reliable in terms of long-term abuse and neglect. An AK platform will continue to run, whether it's dirty, muddy, wet, not cleaned in years, it will just continue to run. AR-15s, although popular, are prone to more problems in terms of not having maintenance.
Gotcha.
So some sort of AK platform, ammo for that. Do you need one each? Not necessarily, but if there's two, grab two. And here's the thing: a lot of people are thinking that like you should run into like anywhere and just like loot everything off the shelves. What are you going to do with all that? That's just extra weight you have to carry around with you, and weight's going to be a real issue because if you have too much weight like in your vehicle, it's going to compromise your fuel mileage and not let you get as far. And if you have too much weight on your person, you're already going to be struggling to find food, and so your caloric intake is going to need to increase with all the extra weight that you're carrying.
Yeah.
So you need to seriously take a step back and think, am I carrying more than I need or less than I need or exactly what I need? So, yeah, AK platform, some sort of sidearm. It doesn't really matter as much. You might want to go with more like a revolver.
Revolver? I really didn't think you were going to say that.
Again, less required maintenance.
Do you have a preference in caliber?
Probably 357.
Gotcha.
I mean, unless you're planning on running into bears, I wouldn't say a 44 because not everyone is able to easily handle the recoil of a 44.
Yeah.
And ammo is obviously heavier.
Gotcha.
So 357 offers a balance between something like a 38, which is pretty low powered, and a 44 Magnum, which is heavy recoil, to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
So something like 357. I mean, if you want to carry a semi-automatic, go ahead. But if you're thinking about true long-term reliability and survival, something like a revolver.
Gotcha. Personally, if we ran into the store, I would want you to get the AK, and then for me, I would feel like a 22 would be nice. Especially, I feel like 22 caliber bullets are going to be more prevalent along the way. I just feel like there's more 22s out there.
So here's where I want to throw an argument to that.
Okay.
You can replace a 22 caliber rifle with a 22 caliber air rifle to get similar desired effects. If you're talking about like using it for like hunting small game for food, you're talking like rabbits, birds, squirrels, whatever.
Yeah.
Why make the noise and waste the ammo when you can get the same result out of a 22 air rifle that needs less maintenance? I mean, literally they're little like cleaning pellets that you just put it in and fire it through, and it helps clean it for you. So, and you can carry a lot more pellets than you can bullets.
Gotcha.
So, although 22 is useful, you can substitute it with other things. That's one less full-size gun plus ammo that you have to carry. I get the hiccups.
Gotcha. So, you've got the AK. We've got a decent amount of ammo. I picked up a 22. We both got sidearms of whatever sidearm that we need. I think, if possible, you need one rainmaker. One thing to let the chopper sing, if you know what I mean.
No.
Yes.
You do not.
Hold up, hear me out. Just hear me out real quick. If you get stuck in a pinch and shit is going down.
That's why you have any sort of assault rifle. That's why you'd have like an AK-47.
We get stuck somewhere and there is a mob of zombies, Austin, and we need to pop the trunk and let the chopper sing. I think it is okay if you have the space available to pick that up and to carry that on with us. I think it's appropriate.
What are you going to get? We're talking about being in California, where already firearms are heavily restricted. What are you getting? What are you getting at?
Maybe we stumbled onto a military base. Maybe we
the
stumbled.
The fuck we did. That will still be heavily defended. The military bases are not going to be abandoned.
Hold on. Maybe
They're
we
not.
stumbled onto a ex-military household where said person was carrying maybe not California legal weapons, which is very possible.
Said person is the exact type of person who's already stockpiled and prepared for this and will kill us without even uttering a word.
There's lots of opportunities.
Okay, you're focusing way too much on firearms. This has become a gun podcast, and that's not what I want. We need to move on.
Why are you so upset about me just saying that maybe we should carry a chopper? Okay,
because
how about this?
First of all, a chopper is an AK-47. That's what's pissing me off. The AK-47 is what is referred to as a chopper because it makes a similar type of sound.
Is a machine gun.
No, it's an AK-47. Fully automatic AK-47 is a chopper.
It's definitely a machine gun, but whatever. Anyway,
machine gun is a real relative term.
It's a chopper. But anyways, let's just say we got a couple grenades. That's
the fuck we did. We are not using grenades in a zombie apocalypse. You are being so outlandish right now. I thought we were having a real conversation about a real scenario that would happen, and I'm trying to be realistic, and you're fucking making this into a Hollywood production.
I'm not making this into a Hollywood production.
You are.
I'm just having fun with it, dude. And you're getting upset that I said we should get a chopper or a couple of grenades. We'll take the chopper out. We'll take the grenades out. Austin doesn't want to have any fun. Obviously, there's no RPGs or.
There is no fun in a zombie apocalypse. We're trying to survive, and I'm trying to continue to get to my point, and you're just throwing it off because all you want to talk about is letting the chopper sing against some fucking zombies, which we're not fighting a horde of zombies. We are running the fuck away.
Okay.
There is no blaze of glory here. This is survival.
I've obviously pooped on Austin's zombie parade. We will continue on. Okay. We've supplied up with our appropriate guns and ammo. We've stocked up on appropriate amounts of water. I think this would be an opportune time for you to talk about how to purify water if needed.
Finally. Because this is one of the most important parts of any sort of survival situation is being able to have water. So I'm going to have more than one Sawyer brand water filter system, whether it be the regular Sawyer water filter, the minis, any of them. Fuck the life. I already own several, but I mean, any sporting goods store generally carries something like this. Okay. But it's something that I would already have, especially for like a small emergency kit for a vehicle.
Austin keeps the thing on him, if you know what I mean.
So that's the Sawyer is good. And like I said, fuck a life straw.
Okay.
Life straw is a lot more gimmicky than it is a true survival tool because it only filters like a little over 200 gallons and it doesn't even filter down to the amount that a Sawyer does. Okay. So Sawyer water filter literally you can drink from a stagnant pond and be okay. And I've literally have experience doing that exact thing on a hike of using it to drink from a disgusting stagnant pond with zero repercussions or side effects.
Gotcha.
So if you have some kind of water source that is kind of iffy that you need to filter, you can obviously filter. The Sawyers can be backwashed, so you can take your clean water and then clean them out with the reverse flow to continue. They're good for like 100,000 gallons a piece. That's a lot of water.
Yeah, it is a lot of water.
So that's going to be like your little kind of day-to-day, because like you can fill up you can actually screw it onto the end of a water bottle. So you can fill up a water bottle with dirty water, screw it on, and just drink out of it like normal. If you are in a position where you don't have any sort of filtration like that, one of the best things you can build is a solar still. So the concept of this has been explained in every survival show possible, but I'll do a quick rundown. So you have some kind of dirty water, right? You're going to want to find, and this is real easy with how much humans like to pollute, like a black like plastic trash bag or like landscape plastic or something like that. Kind of wash it off, and you want to dig a hole. You want to line the hole with this plastic, and then you want to put a cup, like a clean cup, down in the middle. Fill around the cup with dirty water, and then you want to put some clear plastic over the top. And then you want to put like a small rock or something to weigh down the middle so that it is concave. So that way you leave it out in the sun, and the sun heats up that black plastic, and it actually starts to evaporate the water. So this is like actual distillation. You're distilling the water. So the water gets evaporated and all the shit, nasty stuff stays in. It collects on the clear plastic, and because you have that rock, like it all kind of drips down to the center, and then it drips into that cup. So that cup will leave you with clean water.
So this would be more of a, like, if you're in a spot where you have long-term ability to filter water.
Yes. Okay. Ideally, you're going to want to find somewhere that you can actually stay. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't want to continue moving unless wherever you are staying is compromised. You want to set up somewhere more permanently, have a defensible position with a water supply and the ability to at least hunt for food. Mm-hmm. If there's, everywhere, you're either too far from somewhere to loot or everything has already been looted.
Gotcha. I had looked up a couple of like zombie purifying water tips, and you can kind of tell if these are bullshit or not, Austin, but I'll just throw them out there for you. One would be, they said that you could get some like less purified water and put a couple drops of chlorine in it, shake it up and let it sit for a while.
Chlorine bleach.
Yes. Is that feasible? Do you think that's something that's feasible or completely bullshit?
That's possible. No. So in terms of like people who actually do like prepping and mm-hmm. have like water storage, it's advised that when you have like one of those big like 50-gallon water mm-hmm. jugs, that you fill it with water, like every like year or so, you put like a couple of drops of bleach in it to keep it purified. And it's not enough to make you sick, but it's enough to keep it purified while in storage.
Gotcha.
So that's possible. I wouldn't say adding it, like you're going to want a lot of water in order to put some bleach into. Because if you just like put a couple of drops of bleach into a bottle of water, you're going to make yourself sick.
Good point. The other would be, let's say you are desperate for water and I don't know if I consider this a great place to go, but the top of the toilet where the water sits in the top of the toilet, you could technically take the water out of the top of the toilet.
The tank is clean water. Yes. That's from your fresh like water supply. So that's perfectly feasible, but obviously that's going to once it runs out if the water is cut off and you can't like flush to fill it up again.
Yeah.
And if it's been stagnant for a while, you might want to purify it before you do so. Because there's obviously like plastic and other things that are in that water constantly.
Gotcha.
But yes, that is a cleaner source of water that you can go to. But that's very short term.
And then lastly, the go-tos I believe would be obviously catching some sort of rainwater or melting snow.
Catching rainwater is fine as long as whatever you're catching it with is decently clean. And obviously, you don't really want to make that your main water supply because of society. We have made it so like rain does collect a lot of pollution when it falls.
Mm-hmm.
So ideally, if you find some way to collect water in like a rain barrel, collect that and then use that like you should have a garden of some sort, have some crops growing. So use that rainwater to water your crops and then also divert some of that to being filtered or distilled. So like you can use your rain barrel that fills up, especially in Northern California because it gets a lot of rain, to fill up your solar still to then distill water to then store that separately as just drinking water. Gotcha. I want to point out, I'm no expert in any like survival field, but I've accumulated a fairly decent amount of knowledge throughout the years, enough to where I feel somewhat comfortable that I could survive for a while. And back when I lived in Nevada, I did hunt when I was younger. So I do know how to hunt, gut, skin, butcher animals, prepare meat, jerky, things like that. Mm-hmm. So I do have an amount of knowledge that would help me in these situations. Whether you agree with hunting or not, I did it. I have the knowledge. Get over it.
Austin has a pretty good set of skills to keep us surviving. When it comes to growing crops, I feel like I would have some very decent skills at growing certain crops, if you know what I mean.
Not crops that would help us in a survival situation, but perhaps for bartering purposes.
I could grow all sorts of crops. Once you learn how to grow, I've learned a lot about growing different types of crops and whatnot. So I feel like I would be very beneficial in that area. I could definitely make us some super soil. I could grow us all sorts of food. We would just need to find, if we could pick up some sort of seeds, would be great. That would be awesome.
Again,
and then we could go from there.
Like the garden section of your local store is not going to be rated very heavily. People are not thinking about long term; they're thinking about the short term.
Yeah,
that's why people bought toilet paper and dried rice and canned food for the pandemic. I mean, the garden section was completely full. So,
So, all right, we've got our weapons, we've got our vehicle. We're pushing north. Where are we looking to settle in? I know we kind of discussed a little at the beginning. Somewhere in Oregon. Are we trying to go to the mountains? Are we going to try and stay towards the beach?
Ideally, somewhere off of just a little bit inland from the ocean where it was still fairly accessible. Because the ocean can provide a lot of nutrition supplies. You can, desalinate seawater with the solar still. If you have a big enough solar still built where you can like take buckets of seawater and dump it in, that's a perfectly viable option. And then obviously being able to fish. And then that's going to also regulate your climate. You're going to want to be somewhere that's going to get a lot of rain for collecting water. So that's good as well. And you're not going to get a ton of snow, really not any snow, if you're on like the Oregon coast that I know of.
Yeah.
So Northern California coast, Oregon coast, somewhere like that, somewhere with trees, because if you don't already find some sort of place to set up, you're going to want to build your own type of shelter. Going to need trees. I mean, there's a lot to talk about. This could be a multi-part series, but
yeah, I'm trying to.
I guess that's more of our escape vector.
Gotcha. We would have hopefully maybe be able to pick up a boat of some sort of abandoned boat. We could travel maybe up through the coast. That would be nice too.
That's tough because the size of boat you need for going out on the ocean is going to be more than can easily maintain or move.
True. Because
my little 14-foot aluminum fishing boat is not going to take on the ocean very well. So you're going to need something that has, a gas-powered engine that is after a certain amount of time is going to fully run out of its usefulness. So I'm talking about more like fishing from the shore on the ocean.
Gotcha.
Or like finding a pier or like a rock outcropping or something and fishing that way being able to catch some fish, bring it back to your home base, and then also, buckets of seawater for desalinating. It's an option.
Gotcha. So Austin and I have successfully made it out of San Diego. We've made it north. We've settled in Northern California that we both decided on. We've got a good spot a little bit inland. We're growing crops. We're hidden probably somewhere within, I would think we'd want some sort of coverage.
Yeah, it'd be in the middle of like a treed area.
Yeah.
For sure. You don't want to be out in the open where people can just stumble across. You're going to want to have some sort of warning system. So like have like tripwires with like cans or bells or something so you can hear if people are approaching you.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to want to have your rainwater collection, your water filtration or distillation, you're growing some food, the ability to go out and hunt and somewhere to bring back animals to butcher. Obviously, being able to learn to tan hides and use those would be a useful skill, but it's not something I know how to do. It's also disgusting.
So we've settled in. We've kind of made it. Hopefully there's not too many people in the area. And obviously we can move either up coast or south depending on what we need. So I think we've settled into a good spot. I don't know if we're 100% surviving depending on the zombies. I did a little research too, and scientists thought that within 100 days of a zombie apocalypse coming, that the zombies would overtake all mankind. So maybe we don't even fucking survive. But
it would depend on the response. I think if you focus too much on trying to cure it and like treat people, it's going to take over. If as soon as the zombie pops up, you pop it in the head and then incinerate it, then maybe we could get on top of it. I mean, there's a certain line you have to cross between like being humane and trying to help people and then just straight up trying to prevent the eradication of the human race.
Yeah.
And at some point that line would have to be crossed, and I don't know who would make that call.
Gotcha. So we have survived in our apocalypse. We've survived. We've made it to Northern California. We'll be up in Northern California. If you guys are out there during the apocalypse, feel free to make your way up there. Austin and I will be very defensive, though. Just let us know that you are a supporter of the B&S podcast, the Bicknell&Shea podcast, and maybe we'll have you in for a fucking meal or something.
Maybe we'll set up a pirate radio station and continue to broadcast every week.
That'd be fucking awesome. So yeah, that sums up today's topic, Austin and Jeff surviving the zombie apocalypse.
In a very concise one part, where each...
Obviously we could have broken this down craziness, but... Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I don't want to give Jeff any more opportunities to say, let the chopper sing.
Yeah, I was actually going to sum that up. If you can get your hands on a chopper or some grenades, highly recommended, depending on where you're at.
Don't.
Maybe a rocket launcher, some sort of explosives would be dope. Have fun with it, obviously, because it's a zombie apocalypse. Nobody's really going to make it out alive. Highly doubtable. Have fun with it. And yeah, that's us summing up how we would survive the zombie apocalypse.
Based on Jeff's very interesting starting scenario. Yes. I would do things differently given different scenarios, but that's the best I can offer.
The most boring survival guide ever if I wasn't here. But that's
boring and realistic.
So that's our breakdown. We're going to move on now to our final segment that we like to call half-price life advice. Some may call it quarter-price life advice. Some may call it shitty-price life advice. But we're going to sum it up right now. We've got... Austin, I'm going to read it to you, and I'll let you kind of take it away, and then I'll chime in on top of that. This comes from Megan out in Connecticut. I need advice on keeping a daily routine. Recently, I've been wanting to exercise, but I struggle to keep myself to a consistent daily routine. I'm willing to put in the work to exercise. However, I run into a problem where I forget to do it. She says she sets reminders on her phone sometimes, but she'll be too busy, or if she puts too many reminders, it's just like she declines all the reminders because it just gets annoying. So, Austin, do you have any advice for her on keeping a routine?
Okay, here's what I'm going to say first off. if you say that you're literally like from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed, that you're too busy for something, you have poor time management skills. I'm just going to throw that out there. If you literally in like the 16 to 18 hours that you're awake during the day, and you say, I just don't have any time, you are not managing that time wisely. And you need to figure out where you're wasting time in some areas to make time for in other areas for your goal of working out. Seriously, I mean, if I work a 12-hour day, I still have time in my day before I go to sleep to get something else done if I have the motivation to do so. So if you're working 16 hours a day, then maybe I can understand that. But other than that, work on your time management. And there are going to be people who are like, but it's hard. Yeah, I know. That's where discipline comes in. So work on your time management. Make a schedule. If you're trying to set alarms and reminders for just working out, it's going to be a lot easier to ignore them than if you have a set schedule for everything that you do. Say you're taking time to read a book. Set an alarm to where you only read your book for an hour instead of like losing 3-4 hours being lost in your book. Like manage that time more effectively where you read for an hour and then you leave yourself more time to go work out or whatever it is. So don't limit yourself to being reminded about just your goal. Limit yourself on the time that you're doing other things to leave more time for other things.
All right. Well, there's Austin's advice. I personally am a little more lighthearted. I can understand how sometimes it seems like you can't get shit in. Like I try and pack a lot of things into my day. I work 8 hours, sometimes 9 hours, just depending. Sometimes, I mean, I've worked 10-hour days too. I had a really demanding schedule. You're gonna have to give some sort of thing up. Like, let's say you're actually busy, because my schedule can get pretty fucking crazy. Like, I'll wake up, I'll drive to work, I have work all day, and then I try and go to jiu-jitsu. I'm driving back trying to get to jiu-jitsu, and then I finish up jiu-jitsu. Sometimes I'll go to wrestling after that, and then I have to drive home. I have to eat. I'm trying to gain weight. I'm trying to do like a million fucking things, dude. But sometimes you're trying to do too much shit. Prioritize what you want to do. You're gonna have to give up some stuff. Let's say you want to exercise. You prioritize it. Let's say you watch Netflix, you read, you want to exercise. Obviously, you got to eat, you got to work, and let's say you do some sort of other hobby. I don't fucking know. Streaming on Twitch. Prioritize that shit. And if exercising's not at the top of the list, it's not going to get done. So you got to really figure out, is this something I want to do? Is this something I really like? I want it to happen, then you'll make it happen. So prioritize it. You can't do everything. Really limit and focus on getting that one thing fucking done, and you'll get it done. So that's
or if you want to do everything, you need to make sure to schedule enough time to get everything done, even if it's not as much as you want to do of it. Mm-hmm. You either have to sacrifice doing a thing or sacrifice how long you're going to do everything in order to fit other things in. This is all about time management and discipline.
And note with that, you're either going to be a master of something or you're going to be a jack of all trades. If you're doing everything, you're going to be a jack of all trades. You're never going to master something. If you want to prioritize and let's say you're going to dedicate your fucking life to exercising, then you can become a master of exercising and diet and being super awesome in that category. But if you're going to be doing everything, you're going to be subpar at everything. You could get good, but
not subpar. Don't say subpar. Average, maybe, but not subpar.
Okay. I'll go with
you don't have
average.
to devote your life to something to still be good at it. Mm-hmm. And not everyone wants to master. If you're just trying to fit it in, then, give up a little bit of something else to fit it in. That's really all there is to it.
Fair enough. So thank you, Megan, for sending in your half-price life advice question. We appreciate you all for listening. And I just like to lead us off on one word. Everybody, make sure you let that fucking chopper sing. Pick up grenades. Use rocket launchers. And just let the chopper sing. So,
I knew it was coming, and I did nothing to stop it.
Thanks, everybody.
Later.